friends, it's Kathy Clement with Kathy by Design, and this is Throwback Thursday, a little series that we do every week where I pull out some of my older paper collections or dies, tools, products, techniques, and we make something beautiful together. A couple of weeks ago, I showed you how to do surgery on a Graphic 45 6x6 tag and pocket album, the old style ones, the red and black ones. And that was really popular. I had this huge pile of scraps, and I still have a lot of scraps. So I was like, well, maybe it's time for me to use some more of that little album that we tore apart. So I had 3 sections of it left, and here they are. They were all joined together because we just cut these out of the spine, and I'll put the link in the description box below so that you can go see how we cut that album apart in case you missed it. It was a pretty cool tutorial. So I've taken this one, I'm gonna save this one for another day, and I'm just gonna show you very quickly with this one. Once you cut it apart, you'll have these binding tabs that are still in here, and use a craft knife or a ruler, and you just need to get in there like I just did, and then tear this binding tab out, and then you are ready. See, it just comes right out like that. So it's pretty simple to do. If you get a little tear, don't worry about it because you're going to cover this with paper, and it'll all look great at the end. So there's that. And I don't have time to do a huge project today, but I do want to show you this little idea that popped into my head for how to use this sweet little section, which is basically 3 pages, 3 double-sided pages, and you've got a pocket here, and a pocket here. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to cover this, and I'm going to turn it into a really sweet little mini album. So the first thing I want you to do is take 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11 cream cardstock, and you're going to trim out your covers and put 1/4 inch score tape on one of these ends and then overlap so we get a nice straight thing. And then I put it on my scoring tool, and I went ahead and scored it at 5.5 and 6 and at 11.5. So this is going to become our album cover. And I just want to do that so that this part is not flimsy. I want it to have a little more substance. So I'm going to lay this down here, and I'm going to actually use score tape, which I don't usually do because I like the wiggle room that liquid adhesive gives me. But this is going to hold instantly, and I kind of want that for this because I don't want this to shift on me once I've glued it down. So I'm just putting 1/4 inch score tape. You can use whatever size score tape you have. You can use any double-sided adhesive, but make sure it's a good strong one because you want this to be sturdy. And with score tape, you always have to burnish it down. Just press it down into place for that tape to really hold. And I'm going to peel off the release liner. And I'm going to line it up with this first 5.5 inch score line. I hope you can see it. It's a little hard to see cream on cream. I'm going just a tiny bit so that I can bring this over and press it into place. All right. So now we have this 1/2 inch spine part. I'm not going to glue that down. That's going to be sort of a free floating spine. And on the back, we're going to do the same thing with our score tape. So fold on your second scored line like this. And then hopefully we got this in there straight. We have a nanosecond to switch it. There we go. I think we got it. And now this little flap will fold in. So now we've got this little cover. This is nice and sturdy now. This is sturdy on the back, and we have a little fold out flap at the back. That's the first step. I did not like the way that spine was acting. So this is what you do, guys. This is real creating. This is not a kit. This is me using my imagination. So what I did to fix this was I took out my cutter and I cut along that 6-inch score line, and then I rounded that around to cover our open spine. So now we've got this little book. This looks like a mess, but it's going to be fine, because now I'm going to put my tape down, and I'm still going to take this piece and fold it in like that, and it's going to look just fine. And once we cover with paper, no one's going to know that that little incident took place. So once again, I'm just going to take my tape and put it down. I know this looks ugly right now, but you just got to hang with me. Sometimes you got to stick through the scary part to get to the good part. I always think I have things figured out in my head, and sometimes they do, and they work on paper exactly the way they worked on my head, but sometimes they don't. So I'm just putting a little extra piece there to catch that spine. So see, this is crafting in real time, people. Let's try this again. Look at there. So there we go. Now we've got our album covered, so it's nice and sturdy, and we've got this fun little flip out page here. So not so bad. Now you know how to do that. Before I go any further, I want to add my ribbon closure. This is 1/2-inch score tape, and it's wrapped around the front to the back. And this is linen delicate stitch satin. This is a really good shade of ribbon to use with this collection because it kind of goes with everything. So I'm just wrapping this around. I left my tails long on the front, and I'm just gonna cut this. All right. Now we can put down our front and back cover, but before I do, I want to go ahead and just ink the edges of our book. Now I've got this piece. This was one of the decorative panels from the paper collection, and I've inked the edges. I've cut it to 5.5 by 5.5. I'm going to put this right on the cover. And I'm going to flip it to the back, and I've done the same thing with another panel, and you'll see once we put this down, you won't know that the paper was joined, and you also won't see any residue of the trauma that we went through. Just make sure I'm right side up. Yep. So there's our covers added. All right. Now I've cut a 5.5-inch by 1.5-inch piece, and we're going to add this like a contrasting spine. And I'm going to put my adhesive. You can see I haven't scored this or anything. I'm going to bring this in right about here. So it lines up. It lines up with this straight line here. I'm going to fold it around to the back. I am not going to put glue on the spine. I'm going to put glue here, and that's going to make our spine a little bit looser and the book a little more flexible to open. So now we've added our cover and spine. To go in the center pocket, I cut a 5 by 10 inch piece of cream cardstock and folded it in half at 5, and this is going to go in here as a little folio. All right, so there's that. Okay, open up, and we're going to just create a little cheater background for this. I've got 5.5, let me see, is that going to be too long? No, it's going to be perfect. 5.5 by 1/2 inch strips of our designer paper, and I've inked the edges. We're going to make a little mitered corner. Those of you who've seen me do this before, you can skip on to the next part, but we always get new people, so I like to show them. I put these 2 strips of paper together so that they're perpendicular, and I'm going to cut from the inside corner to the outside corner, and this makes a nice little mitered edge. So down here on the bottom, I'm going to do the same thing. Making sure they're perpendicular, and then I'm going to make them cut. So now we just have to put these down, and I'm just going to place my adhesive. So there's that. Now I can come in, and I made a little pull-out insert to go here in the front. And this is 2 5.25 by 8.5 inch pieces of cardstock, and I've scored every 5.25 inches. You end up with this short piece. I put gussets back here, and this becomes a pocket. And I want this to be a pocket that we can put something inside. I want this to be a hidden pocket. So I created some gussets. This is the front. This is the back right here. So these are 1 inch by 5.25 inch pieces of paper that I've scored in half at 1/2 inch and folded. And let me see, I want to make sure I'm doing this right side up. So this is the bottom. I'm going to put the folded edge of my paper against the edge, And if you're a little bit over, like I am here, you can just come in and cut. The idea is you do not want your paper, you don't want that gusset to hang out over the edge. It's a hidden thing. All right, there we go. So now what this has done is it's created a channel for an extra piece of paper. I'll show you, you'll see, it's really cool. I'm going to put my adhesive here and here. We just need the one on the bottom so that whatever we put in doesn't fall out, right? And we're not going to go all the way to the bottom anyway, so it's not a big deal. We're going to center this up here. And see, now we've got this fun pull out that is also a hidden pocket. See that? I'm going to work on decorating my pages, and I have, you know, it's Father's Day weekend, so I got a lot of stuff going on with family, and I've also made some promises within the community that I have to keep. But you can see what a cute little album this is going to be. It's just adorable. And of course, the whole challenge from here is going to be not adding too much bulk to these pages, because if we do, the album will never ever close. But this will be kind of a fun, just a fun little way to use up bits and pieces that are in your stash. I'm just creasing along this spine so the cover turns nicely. If you don't have a bone folder, I highly recommend that you invest in one. They're really cheap, and they're one of my favorite tools. I use them all the time. So you can see, I'll probably add a little clip here to keep this from flapping all over the place. Cover my tags using the tag die, and we'll create the cover together. This is just to get you started, so you can go ahead and get this much done on yours. All right, friends, I thought I'd just show you my progress so far. Here's what it looks like, and I'll just show you what I've done on the inside so that you can have an idea. So this is that pull-out page that we created at the beginning, and it has that little pocket on the front. So I added, let me take this off, I added magnets here. So there's a magnet behind this little dot, and there's a magnet underneath. Decorated the pocket. Here's a little pull-out. This was a scrap I had, and I just scored it on the side. This is probably about 1.5 inches. And then this little photo mat here. So I'll give you the dimensions on this and the scoring, so you can do this if you choose to. This is just about exactly 6 3/4, and it is scored actually at 1 3/4. So your liners are going to be 5 by 5, and let me see, this is 1 5/8 by 5. And these are just fussy cuts from the paper collection. All right, so very simple. I didn't do the back. This is pretty, I kept everything flat. And then I just took some fussy cuts from the inside cover, and we're gonna tuck them in this little pocket. So that's kind of fun. And then this closes. This opens out this way, and then these are images from the image pages. All I did was score a flap along the top so that we have a little pull up and a little pull down. These are also, these little liners are 5 1/8 by 5 1/8, because remember our pull out page is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. So it goes this way and it goes this way. So you can see I've done the same thing over here. Flap down, flap up, just using the papers that I had left in that paper pad. So, and then to, in that little hidden pocket that we made, I had to keep it skinny. I just took this image from the 12 by 12 paper pad. This is 5 by 10. I scored it in half and folded it. So on this side you have this, and on this side you have this. So this lives in that little hidden pocket that we created at the back. And rather than have it go over the front, I just kept it in the back. And then I just used this vintage clip to hold this closed. So here's our pocket, and your pocket liners are, for the pocket face, this is just about 5 1/2, just under 5 1/2 by about 2 1/8. And these are just fussy cuts, some little cutout tags from the paper collection. And then along the top, it's going to be the same thing, 5 1/8. And I think I went like, it doesn't go all the way down to the bottom because I'm working with scraps. So it's like 3 3/4. All right. In this little side pocket, this is that little, I think we went 5 by 10 on this. Yes, 5 by 10, scored in half, just covered it with like almost 5 by 5 papers, and then some little fussy cuts. And then inside, I took this big image, trimmed it out, and then put it in here so that it almost looks like a complete page. And then on the back, another little tea party thing. So that goes in our little side pocket. It's kind of amazing what you can fit in this little mini album. It's pretty cool. I'm tickled with the way it's turned out. Then over here we have another pocket. I opted not to do the tags because they were too thick, and I wanted to make sure this would close. So this is just one of the images from the 12 by 12 that I trimmed out and put in the pocket. And of course, all your pocket pages, those measurements are all the same. Then over here, this is our back cover, and I created a fun little flip element. I took this, okay, I'll tell you first, these here are just scraps that I cut all of them to a height of 5 1/4 and glued them down. I think it's 5 1/4. Let me double check myself. I don't want to tell you a fib. Sorry, 5 1/2. These are all trimmed to a height of 5 1/2, and then I just layered them back there. They look really cool, and it uses up all those bitty scraps. And then this image of Tweedledum and Tweedledee, I cut out and scored it just about 4 1/2. So here's the inside. On this flap, this is one of the clear acrylic scraps that I glued, this door piece, and then I fussy cut the rabbit, the white rabbit, and put him here. So this little clip comes off here, and then this flips out. And this is that extra flap that we did and folded in. I did the same thing here with scraps. I trimmed them to a width of 5 1/8 because this little flap is only 5 1/4. And I just layered them down. And then I created this little Z fold element. Now this is super cool and really easy to do. I'll show you with a piece of scrap paper before we leave how to do that. But then I just lined these. This is 11 by 2 3/4. So what you do is you score it in half, which is 5 1/2. And then you score the distance between here and here in half, which is 2 3/4. Same over here, 2 3/4. So 2 3/4, 5 1/2. I can't do that math in my head. I can do it on paper, but another 2 3/4 here. And then I just cut little scraps of my designer paper, fussy cut these images and put them in. You fold it like a W, so you can see it's like this. So that's where we are as of right now. I think I have time. I think I have time to do the cover with you today. So that would be kind of fun if we could do that. I'm going to move this over so it actually holds this door flap down like that. All right. Of course, there's the back cover. So that's where we are. Let me show you, let me gather some stuff. I'll show you very quickly how to do that super easy W pop-up. So let me just show you. Here's our 11 by 2 3/4 inch piece of paper. So I like to start because half of 11 is 5 1/2. And then in between, half of 5 1/2 is 2 3/4. And then I just turn it and I go 2 3/4 again. So you're going to fold this so that it looks like a W. It's really easy. Do you see that? It looks like a W or an M, however you want to think about it. So in your book, when you're doing your book, all right. Well, actually, I think this was maybe 3. It was a scrap. That's why I just used a scrap. So it's going to look like this. Here's your W. Fold it so it's a little book. Put your adhesive on this piece of paper, and I use score tape, and you're going to press it down right there so that it's secure. Then put adhesive on your top piece. And I do prefer score tape for this to liquid adhesive because it sets instantly. And then you're just going to close your book like this and press it into place. And when you lift it up, both of these pieces will be glued down and you'll have this fun little pop-up element. So that's how you do that. Super simple, really cute, really fun to open. It's a nice little surprise. So that finishes the inside of our little book. And now I want to go to work on the cover. All right, guys, so we're going to do something kind of fun. This is an old Prima Venetian shutter. You can still get these. I'm pretty sure at scrapbook.com. If not, look around for them. And what I've done is I've placed this on my paper. This is from the 8x8 pad. And I've positioned it so that I'm going to get my rabbit, my white rabbit, in here. And now I'm going to bring in my cutter. I made pencil marks so I know where I'm cutting. And he's going to be the backer for our shaker element. I thought it'd be fun to put a shaker element on this because why not? All right. So we're going to take him and we're going to flip this over. Do you ever have one of those weeks where everything happens all at the same time and it's all good stuff, but you just wish it would like have been spaced out a little bit more? That's kind of the week I'm having, but it's all good. Just busy, really busy. Heading right into, I'm telling you, once the calendar gets to the middle of June for me, it's insane until the end of August because we have all these family birthdays and then, you know, Father's Day and 4th of July and all the things, and just trying to stay on top of it all is a little breathtaking. But I'm determined to keep up with these Throwback Thursday tutorials. I know I missed Tuesday this week, but that was because I had a blog hop with really reasonable ribbon. All right, so I'm going to fit this down over and press it in place. And I can see I need to trim just a little bit off the back. But see, not a big deal. Now you could paint this if you wanted to. You could come in with, you know, all kinds of different colors. I kind of like it. I think it's perfect like this. I've painted it before and not painted it. It just depends. So I'm going to put my shaker stuff in there. I want some of these tealy ones that look kind of nice, and some buttons. And then I've got these really fun sprinklets. This is called Poker Face. This is from Buttons Galore and More, but I think you can also get these on scrapbook.com. And they're perfect for this Alice collection. So I'm going to put some of those in there. And then just because I think it needs a little bit darker to ground it, I'm going to put some of these ink blot sprinklets in there. All right. Yeah, that looks good. And now I've cut a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 inch piece of clear acrylic. And this is where it gets tricky. I'm going to put my adhesive down. I don't think score tape, I wish score tape would work, but I don't think it's going to work for me here. So we're going to use Dry's Clear. I'm going to put my adhesive down into these crevices where I'm going to set my acetate, and excuse my head if I'm in the shot, just trying to get everything ready here. All right, so this is the tricky part, because this has to kind of slide in like this and then over like that. And I know that doesn't look great right now, but that's going to dry and then we're going to be fine. So I went into my Renee Bouquet's goodies, and I have some really, she has some really cute Alice in Wonderland. And I love this Mad Hatter. So I want him in the mix, and I love this Alice. And the neat thing about these is that you can get them that they face one direction and then they face the other. I'm not going to glue these down yet because I have to figure out where my flowers and stuff are going to go. So just hang tight with me for a minute. I'm going to clear a little space so we have room to work, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, this is where it gets exciting. We're going to go ahead and attach this to our card front, our mini album front. And again, I'm using score tape because I don't want this to shift. Sometimes score tape is just the right choice, and this is one of those times. But the neat thing about these Venetian windows is that you don't have to add any, I mean, there's no foam tape in this at all. It's just super, it makes a super easy shaker. You just have to be careful when you're doing your tape on the back here that you don't punch through your window, because that would be tragic at this point. All right. Kind of excited about this. I made one of these once before and was very pleased with the way it turned out. I haven't done it in quite a while. So, super fun. And believe it or not, I still haven't used up all of my Alice stuff. I have so much Alice. All right. I'm going to remove this clip. I'm going to bring in my cover. I know I'm right side up. I'm going to center this and press it down. All right, so now we're secure. I don't know. I'm torn on if I want these to close and then open, or if I just want them open. I kind of think I just want them open. So the first thing I want to do is, I've got this beautiful chipboard that says it's always tea time. And I'm going to put this across the top of my window. just like this. And that's also going to hold, I hope, those windows open. All right, and then along the bottom, I've got another cute chipboard piece. This says, would you like an adventure now, or shall we have our tea first? Okay. So I pulled out some Rene Bouquet flowers that I felt went really well with this collection. And I'm going to, I want something back behind here to hold these doors in place. So my thinking is, yeah, I think if I take one of these large white roses here, let me bring all these in. I've got them thrown all over the place. And let me see. So now you get to watch my process. This is what I go through. Yes. And one of these large gardenias down here, and I'm just going to hot glue those in, and that's going to hold these doors in position. All right, which, yeah, that works pretty well. Let me take the other gardenia and put it behind the other one. All right. That works. Okay, guys, good. Sometimes the only thing you can do is just go for it. So that's what I'm going to do here. We'll see what happens. I'm going to put this foliage right here. And then I'm going to take this beautiful, I think this is a dusty pink. I don't remember the names, but I'll make sure that I link. And I'm going to bring this in right here. Then I've got this small, this is a really pretty sort of a sagey color. I'm not sure what it is in the shop, but I'll find it and make sure I list. Then I want another leaf. Right here. Kind of like that. And I'm going to take this, I think these are called caramel. This is a gardenia, and I'm going to cluster these right there. So pretty. This is looking good. All right. And then on this side, I'm going to do the opposite, starting at the top, just to create balance and symmetry. So here's my leaf. And my large rose. Then my pink rose. So I'm just kind of doing the opposite of what I did. Go in the other direction. And I don't have another one of those gardenias. One more leaf. Right here, and then we'll take this caramel rose and tuck it in like that. So pretty. That looks really good. I'm pleased with that. I've got some ideas. We may have to reposition some stuff and move some stuff around, but that's part of the process too. I want to put Alice over here on this shutter. So I'm going to lift my gardenia just a little bit. And I'm going to put my hot glue and I'm going to tuck her in to this like that. So she's kind of part of the floral arrangement there, which I think that worked pretty good, and she seems secure. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my Mad Hatter, only I think I'm going to have to use some foam tape on him because of the angle. So just tucking him in here. This is trickier than it looks, but I think we got it. It's a little bit wiggly. We'll wait for that adhesive to set and then we'll test him again. And then I found, this is also from Renee Bouquets. Isn't that perfect? I had this in my stash for a while and I've been hanging on to it for just the right thing. This, you can find this in her trinkets. And then I found this sweet little spoon. I'll show you what I do with these. This is ginger spice glitter glass. I think the spoon actually maybe came from Renee, but I'm not 100% sure. But I'll check the trinkets. I'm going to put my hot glue in the spoon, and then I'm going to sprinkle my glitter glass over the top. That looked neat. I'm just going to set that aside and let that glue harden. And it looks like it's full of sugar. It's so fun. So a little bit of this stuff goes a long, long way. Found this really awesome mirror. This is also Renee Bouquets, and I kind of wanted to include this in here. I think I actually want to use the mirror side. It's hard to decide because look how beautiful this is, both sides. So do we do this side? But then you can't really tell it's a mirror. I think we do this side. All right, and I'm going to use foam tape on this because metal and hot glue are not a good combination. So I've got some little tabs, small tabs that I'm going to put down here. Peel this off. I really like, that's really cool. I like that a lot. Okay, so I just need to figure this guy out. Hold on. Okay, so I think I have this figured out. I want it up in here and with our flowers. And for this, I'm going to use my Dries Clear. Because it will hold. It'll take it a minute to set up, but once it sets, it is really good adhesive. I'm going to set this right in there. I want my key to show. There we go. Okay, that looks good. All right, and I think we can glue our little spoon right here now. To handle that carefully because that glue is not completely hardened yet, and it'd be sad to wreck that. So I've got these little guys. I didn't like them on the clock. They to me, they detracted from it. So I'm just going to string them through. Tie a knot. Okay. I'm going to take my scissor. I'm going to push this into that glue so that they'll dangle down, but they'll be secure. So that's kind of fun. That's cute. That's real cute. Okay. So all I'm going to do is add this little teapot right here. And I'm going to use my Dry's Clear. And I don't know where I got these. I wish I remembered because I would love to have more, but I don't know. I'm always looking. Every time I'm out and about, my husband's always looking. This is what he gives me like for birthday and anniversary presents because he knows I'd rather have this than jewelry, which is sad, isn't it? Yeah, I think we're good, guys. I think that's all we need to do. I think if we add anything else at this point, it's too much. But look how adorable this is. I love this. It's really fun. And this is just another portion of that Graphic 45 album that we butchered. So that ended up being a really good deal for me. And I hope you've enjoyed this too. I know this wasn't complete every step along the way, but this would have taken a long time. But at least you get to see me embellish the cover, build the base, and I showed you how everything works. So just had to show you, I had a bunch of scraps left, still with the scraps. So I made this really beautiful tea party card. And this is just using scraps that I've layered together from the paper collection. These are the clear acrylic die cuts, which I like so much. A little wooden clip. Here's our Cheshire Cat. Little mushroom charm, little butterfly charm. These are Rene Bouquet's butterflies that are flying around Alice and her cake. Some sweet little buttons. Machine stitching. There's a lot of detail on this cover. It's really fun. Then the inside of the card, I had this scrap of the patterned paper, and I layered up on here the chipboard door with some of the clear acrylic pieces, fussy cut Cheshire Cat, this little Wonderland. This is a turn tab. So this opens out, and here's our white rabbit, which I've also fussy cut and popped up on foam tape. Here's a pocket watch, the owl, the Queen of Hearts. She's one of those clear acrylics. And here are the cards. Remember how in the story they had to keep painting the roses either white or red? That was kind of a funny part. And then down here is a little pocket. This is a happy unbirthday card. I actually threw an unbirthday party for a friend once who was going through a hard time. It wasn't her birthday, but we acted like it was, and we called it Happy Unbirthday. Here's a sweet bookmark with an Alice charm and a mushroom charm. And here's a little, show you, just a little gift card wallet, or you could tuck tea in there. Either way, super sweet. Used up a bunch more scraps, which, you know, all about the scraps. So today is all about Alice. Really fun. And then I forgot, this is a piece of an old doily that I stitched in. I just kind of went through and did a bunch of bits and bobs. So all about Alice. We've got our project made with the leftovers of our Graphic 45 album that we took apart a couple weeks ago, and some Rene Bouquet's goodies and a little shaker window. I love that. That turned out so good. And our card, and that's it. Happy Throwback Thursday. I wish you joy and creativity. Go get your craft on. Bye.